When we talk about equality, we often forget one of the biggest missing pieces: disability. For many, ableism is a word they've never heard, yet it shapes how millions of people live, work, and are treated every single day. Today, I'm sitting down with Celia and Jamie, two unapologetic truth tellers who are breaking the silence and giving us the language and the courage to finally unlearn ableism. Thank you so much, Celia and Jamie, for joining me here on AwareNow to share this space and to share your story. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us or inviting us. This is so exciting.
Absolutely. Well, why don't I go ahead and first off just give the both of you an opportunity to introduce yourselves in your own words for those who don't yet have the pleasure of knowing you.
Over to you, Celia.
Hi everyone, so my name is Celia Chartres-Aris and my pronouns are she, her, hers. Fingers and many pies, I think is the expression about what I do, but I am with Jamie one half of Disabled by Society, which is a massive portion of the work that I do. The other big portion of the work that I do is I work as a special advisor around the world, looking at legislation and national policies and how we can embed systems that are more inclusive of disabled people. But as the other half of Disabled by Society by Jamie, we are a 100% disabled-owned and disabled-led organisation. And again, we work all around the world across all three sectors and beyond, looking at how we can break down the ableism which is entrenched within our society. So whether that's within governments, whether that's within private organisations, or whether that's in the charitable sector. And we do this in a variety of different ways, from training and auditing all the way through to consultancy review. We've also lead the award-winning podcast, Unlearning Ableism, and we've orchestrated a number of policy and research projects as well. But I suppose why we're here to talk to you, and I'll let Jamie fill this in, is about our book which is coming out, which is Unlearning Ableism, which is the amalgamation of everything as two experts on disability and 37 other people that we have gathered from all around the world to give their intersectional voice about how we unlearn ableism.
Awesome.
And I'll go next then. So my name is Jamie, surprise. And my pronouns are he, him. And so I'm trying to get this right. I'm the other half of Disabled by Society. Just for context, I am registered blind. Don't be panicking if you see me my eyes darting around the room. I have no control of my pupils at times. There's nobody else here, it's just they're having a party. I'm also ADHD, so I'm autistic and ADHD, and I have spent my life disabled by society. And for me, so Celia and me kind of come from different backgrounds. Mine is a corporate background, so I struggled most of my life to gain and retain employment. Then got a job in recruitment, which is really odd because I couldn't get a job, and then suddenly I'm hiring other people for jobs. So I was in the corporate space doing recruitment and quickly went from being a sourcer, which is somebody that headhunts people for jobs, to our disability lead for our network, and it was an award-winning network, and then quickly became a global disability and accessibility lead. And that was just through the point of lived experience and collaborating with colleagues and suddenly realising, oh my goodness, I'm not so alone in the world. I'm also a content creator, and that's actually where me and Celia met, was on LinkedIn through the LinkedIn Creator Programme, the very first in the UK. And it was very much, I don't want to say love at first sight because it makes it sound like we're a couple, but it was very much bestie at first sight because suddenly it was like, oh, this person gets me, and we can say the things that people would be like, oh, you can't say that about disability, where sometimes it is shit, sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's frustrating, and we don't talk about that part of it. So when I found Celia, it was like, she's my yin to my yang. But yes, as Celia says, we have created, written this book, Unlearning Ableism, the no-nonsense guide to understanding disability and unlearning ableism, because I think for us it was very much, when we see disability being discussed, we don't talk about the ableism in the room. We don't talk about that internalized ableism. So for us, it was very much let's get this down on paper. And it's like 2.5 years worth of work and behind the scenes of let's get this done. And then now it's like a month and a half away from being out there. It's like, oh my God, a baby's coming to life.
Well, thank you both for those beautiful introductions. I'm excited to jump right into this. And I want to start out with isms.
because we grow up learning about words like racism and sexism, but ableism is a word that still stops a lot of people mid-sentence. Question to start us out is, if you are sitting across from someone who's hearing this term for the very first time, how would you describe what ableism feels like? Not as a definition, but as a lived experience. Whoever would like to start with that.
I'll jump in. I'll go straight into the deep end. I don't want to say a bad word, but what I'll say is it's alienating, it's frustrating, it's disappointing, because when we talk about isms of the world, we automatically know what racism is. We know it's to do with race. When we hear sexism, we know it's to do with gender. Like, we understand these words because we're kind of taught about them, or there's awareness about them. But when it comes to ableism, we're not taught about it, despite disability being the group that anybody can join at any given time. We are all one accident away from disability, or we're all an aging population, or whether it's permanent or temporary disability, we will all experience it at some point in our lives. So for me, it's disappointing because it's not just one instance that you have that day. It's everything from those barriers you face right through to, well, you're disabled and you did this and you're super amazing for doing it. It's frustrating, it's disappointing, but equally it's also just this missing ingredient that we don't talk about in society, but yet we talk about all these other awarenesses and things that we need to do, but yet disability is always left in the outskill. So for me, the biggest feeling would be disappointment.
I mean, I echo that massively and say, I'm going to throw the word upsetting in, because whenever you want to talk to me about who I am and what my experiences are, instantly you feel sympathy for me all the time. Like when I tell people, I've got a terminal illness, I'm in multiple organ failure, people go, oh, and they start pitying me and they start giving me sympathy. That's one breath, but then in the other breath, you find it quite okay to quite literally be horrible to me in the things that you say, and you might not realize you're doing it. So for me, it's that juxtaposition of being both so incredibly offensive, but then also offering me this very unwanted sympathy and pity. You put those two things together and you have just othered me in every single way possible, but you don't make me feel almost human. You make me feel like I'm not the same thing that you are. I am something completely different. And yes, there are differences about me, but at the end of the day, we all bleed the same way and we are all one human experience, and we're all living on this planet for the first time trying to figure this out. But that otherization is so incredibly upsetting because, and I think when you think about ableism, what's almost the most upsetting thing about it, from my perspective, is I expect it and I'm surprised if it doesn't happen. And I think that's a very powerful thing, is I expect it to happen and then I'm pleasantly surprised and almost grateful when it doesn't. And that just shows you how far we still have to come. We see people, for example, when someone gets their reasonable adjustments, I hate the expression reasonable, because tell me what's unreasonable, please, because I don't bloody understand. Or where somebody responds in the right way when you tell them your story. And we say thank you, or we smile and say to ourselves like, oh, isn't that so nice that they said the right thing? No, it's not nice. Like, people should just be saying it anyway. We shouldn't be saying thank you for receiving our fundamental basic rights. But it just shows you how far we still have to go in terms of ableism. And like the nugget of information we always give people of, if you don't understand what ableism is, I'll say it in a very clear sentence. You replace the word, whatever it is that you're going to say, you replace the word disability, disabled, neurodivergence with gender, race, religion. Would you still say that sentence? If the answer is no, why do you still feel like you can say it to disabled people? So prime example is, oh, it's just going to cost too much to put in a bathroom just for women. It's just going to cost the company too much. We don't want to do that. Would you say that sentence? Probably not. So why do people still so openly say these things about disabled people?
Mic drop.
And there you have it. Well, and so when we're talking about these words that are so important for us to include in conversation, I think the unlearning is so important. Another word, let's talk about silence, because you both have talked about silence that allows the cycle of ableism to keep spinning. So question now is, What was the moment? I'd love to hear the moment for both of you that made you say, enough. The moment that turned from like quiet frustration into the call to write, unlearning ableism. What was that moment?
I think,
You
You
go first, Celia. No, you go first. You go first.
I think my big moment was when I made my career switch. So my background was working in law. That's what I trained in. That's what I was going to do. And I had a job offer taken away from me from a law firm. So a law firm dealing in human rights, I might add, as soon as I declared that I had a chronic health condition. And it wasn't on this wouldn't make it right anyway, but it wasn't on the basis of the fact that I wasn't going to be safe or I wasn't able to do the job. It was, and I quote, "We don't think you'd be a good fit for the team," now knowing the kind of personal challenges that you face. And I remember getting that phone call, and I had been bedridden for about a year and a half, 2 years. And it was my first step to trying to come back and trying to kind of put myself back out there. And it took me a lot of courage to find the strength to be like, I can do this. My life looks very different now. And it just sent me flying, absolutely sent me flying. And thankfully, I was kind of picked up by the people around me who said, use that anger and turn it into something brilliant, because this is just so utterly unacceptable. But I will say there's been so many moments like that in my life which have caused real points of anger. But that one for me, if that hadn't have happened, blessing in disguise, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. I would probably still be working in law, in human rights, which is a little bit similar, I suppose. But that was my big one where I was like, this.
Absolutely.
This is, enough is enough. I can't. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty powerful enough moment. Absolutely. Jamie, how about you?
So for me, so like in my 20s, I know I look 21, I'm actually 35. In my 20s, I bounced around from one job to another, trying to find somebody who would support me. Like if I mentioned adjustments, I was suddenly labelled as needy or dramatic, or I suddenly became this othered person in my employment. So my job history on paper is like, it looks like I bounced job to job and I didn't really care about my career, when the far from the truth was, it was furthest from the truth. So I struggled really badly with my mental health, and a lot of internalized ableism, thinking I wasn't good enough, feeling a lot of shame for asking for support. And my moment came, like I hit rock bottom to get to my moment, because I was suicidal, I was depressed, I was taking so many antidepressants, and it was just like, I hated being me, I hated being disabled, and I just wanted to be like everybody else. So the moment that came for me was I had lost a job, and it was just another example of, it was the longest job I'd actually kept, and it was working in a contact centre, and it was still very much an entry-level role, but I'd been there over a year, and I'd given it my heart and soul, and all of a sudden I was being treated differently, and it was like I wasn't as capable as I wasn't seen as capable as everybody else, and I lost that job. And I can remember just feeling absolutely distraught. My partner was worried about me and stuff, and I think it was my partner who kind of said to me, it's just like this isn't on you, kind of thing. Like, you don't have to carry this alone. It's not you, it's these organizations. They're just not ready for somebody like you, and that's on them. So for me, it was like I had hit rock bottom to get to that point. But I think as we age as well, our tolerance for ableism kind of starts to go, I'm not doing this no more. Like, I'm going to start to speak up. So I got that job in recruitment, and it was the first time an employer said to me, what can we actually do to support you? And when I said this isn't working, it wasn't like, oh, well, we can't keep you no more. It was like, right, what can we do to adapt? What can we do to change this? So it was very much hitting rock bottom, but having those people to build me back up. And it was around that time, I think it was a year into the job, when I met Celia as well. And it was suddenly having somebody you could speak to and say, do you know what? Sometimes being disabled is really shit, and it's really hard, and I don't like it. And hearing somebody saying, I feel exactly the same, but it's not you, and then having those conversations. So for me, it was really a mixture of hitting rock bottom and then having those people around you who were able to lift you back up. And it was no easy task, because I know that, like, when I was spiraling my heart, I had to deal with a lot. But I think it's having that support around you, and it's a privilege in a sense, because not all of us have those support systems. But it's why when somebody with lived experience comes to me and says, I'm struggling, I'm like, get yourself somebody who has lived experience and have that conversation, because 90% of the time that person feels the same, or they have some experience that they can share with, but we don't say it out loud because we don't say the negative out loud. And as Celia says, when people hear the word anger, it's like, oh, you're going to turn into the Hulk and flip the table. And it's like, actually, anger can be a really strong motivator for change. And
because that is such a good point, to have that support, to have those resources when you do hit that point. It's will make or break, right?
I can't talk about
it. Let's talk about the fact that this book invites readers to shake things up, but shaking things up can make people uncomfortable. When someone says, I'm just trying to be polite, or I didn't mean it that way, how do we move these conversations from defensiveness to discovery?
I think that's where we start with unlearning. And this is where we talk about unlearning ableism. It's not learning how to be anti-ableist, because we automatically have this way of doing things. It's human nature to say things like, okay, I understand what you're going through, and you're like, you don't have a disability, you're not registered blind, you have no clue what I'm understanding. It's almost like we try to relate and put ourselves in somebody else's shoes, and it's such a human thing to do, but we have learned behaviours and how to treat disabled people, the language to talk about disability. We've picked these up from others around us in society. So we start with unlearning, because these good intentions that we have, even though they're good intentions, they're going to cause harm, they're going to cause offence, and it's going to segregate and exclude disabled people. So we start with unlearning and start to have those really open conversations, not pointing the finger at somebody and saying, oh, you've done really terrible things here, you should feel ashamed. It's more of having that understanding that, do you know what, you are going to get it wrong at times, but it's being able to step back and say, this isn't personal, this isn't somebody attacking me, this is somebody saying, actually what I've learned in the past isn't working, and here's how I can flip that narrative. So we start with unlearning, and we always say it's about making those uncomfortable conversations comfortable, because a lot of times when somebody tells us we've done something wrong, we automatically get upset. I'm neurodivergent. If somebody tells me I've done something wrong, my RSD kicks in, and I'm like suddenly like, what have I done? And I feel so guilty. But a lot of times, people's reactions also really get defensive. So I think the way that we in Celia try to do this, and what we do in the book, is we share real stories, but we add our own lived experiences. We add some humour there too, because it's not about, you've done this wrong. It's about just stopping for a second and thinking, actually, if I think from this person's point of view, I see this in a completely different light, or recognising that this isn't about us and them, it isn't about this divide, it's about all of us, because disability is this human experience that we all need to accept. And I think once we can unlearn those behaviours, we can begin to start to build a more better understanding of disability. I'll let you pick up now, Celia.
On the head, and in our book examine the history as well, to kind of provide context as to why we're in the place that we're in now, thinking all the way back to days that we were living in a cave and we were small pockets of communities. Even then, there is archaeological evidence about disabled people being excluded for reasons as automatically we were seen as weak, we weren't able to contribute. That's the reason we chose the word unlearning, not learning, is because it's not something that we're trying to acquire, it's something that we're trying to get rid of. And it's not your fault that you think the way that you think. It's how everybody thinks, because we're born to think that way. We're born to see disabled people as different and weaker and not as capable, because that is what society, since the dawn of our communities, has been doing. And that's what we wanted to focus on, is almost this analogy of both empowering disabled people to say, when you're diagnosed, you're not given a handbook as to what your rights are. You're not given a handbook as how to advocate for yourself. Like, this book is for both disabled people and non-disabled people, in the sense of, as a disabled person, I've been ableist because I'm in the same bracket you're in, that I wasn't taught the right things to say and the right things to do. I understand my lived experience, but I had no clue about anybody else's until I started learning about it. That really takes you on a journey of understanding, why do we think this way? Where has that come from? And your intention is the first thing that you need to do and be better. Just by picking up the book, just by reading the blurb on the background, you've already started doing the right thing. And so many times throughout the book, we say as well, you're going to get it wrong. We've all got it wrong. All of us, every single one of us have got it wrong. And that's okay. But we learn from those mistakes. And here is actually a tool for you to do and be better and have the conversations as well. And it was really important for us. You know, Jamie and I sit here and we recognize the fact that we're both white and we both live in the 14th most developed country in the world. And we are both afforded, even though disadvantages, we also have a lot of privileges that a lot of people from around the world don't have, such as access to healthcare. And so we've gathered, is it 37, Jamie?
It's 37, yeah.
37. So we've gathered 37 other disabled activists, experts, entrepreneurs, whatever they do, and contributed their voice to each section of the book as well, to make sure that we really are presenting and covering as many, I suppose, outlooks and as many experiences as we possibly can, because no two disabled people are the same. You can't write 5 sentences about how to ask a disabled person if they need an adjustment, because we all need and like different things, as all other human beings do. We are also human beings. Everybody likes different things. So getting that across, and the overarching thing being individualism and intention and just understanding and realizing it really isn't that difficult. You just need the tools to unlearn what not out of your own fault that you know inside yourself.
Right. And that's got to give people some confidence to say, it's not that I have to learn all this stuff. I just have to unlearn. It's about unpacking some of these things. And to what both of you talked about, the fact that it's not that, yeah, you're going to get it wrong. We all will. And it's okay to get it wrong sometimes. What is not okay is to be okay, is to not try to get it right.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, we're human. Like, making mistakes is such a human thing. Like, you know, I learn better when I make a mistake and Celia tells me, oh, Jamie, this isn't done right, or vice versa. Like, you learn quicker and then it kind of stays with you. It's about somebody giving you the tools and the knowledge to kind of make that change. Because even as disabled people, as Celia said, we don't get a handbook telling us how to be disabled. But likewise, we don't understand ableism until after we've experienced it over a sustained period of time. And by the time we start to understand what ableism is, or internalized ableism is being impacted, we potentially have repercussions with our mental health as a result of that, because internalized ableism is like psychological trauma when you're continuously exposed to this. Yeah. So it's just like, this book is really trying to help change how people think about disability, how they view disability, how they talk about it, but equally looking at things like, right, I have a workplace, what can I suddenly start to do? What are some changes I can suddenly make that will make a bigger, wider difference? And the book really goes through so many different areas that you can do that. It's almost like you can pick up each chapter and read that one chapter and suddenly you'll walk away with a bit more disability confidence than you did initially. And again, it all ties back to the fact that with disability inclusion, and when we talk about disability inclusion and justice, we don't talk about the ableism in the room. And I think this is what we try to do with this book is, let's call it out, let's talk about it. Let's not shame, let's not name and shame people for it. Let's celebrate that journey we're going on together. Let's actually step back and say, do you know what? I've made this change today. Tomorrow I can do this one. I'll read this chapter next week and make changes here. It's about going on that journey, but going on that journey at your own pace, because we're all at different levels of understanding. Like, even myself, when I was writing this book, there was things that, you know, we split up the chapters and we were writing them together, but there was things that Celia was talking about law, and I was like, I've never thought about that there. And likewise, when we talk about recruitment, Celia would have said the same. So it was like, this is a journey we're all going on together, and everybody, no matter who you are, can pick up this book, and that accountability and that unlearning will kind of fall into suit. And you will, well, we hope that everyone will walk away with a bit more disability confidence and actually being able to say, actually, I know what ableism is now, and I'm not afraid of it, I'm not ashamed of it, I'm ready to make that change to unlearn it.
Mm-hmm. On that as well is it's a book for disabled people as well, in feeling more empowered and someone giving you permission to say, get angry, stand up and say something, or communicate yourself however you want to express yourself. And you know, I say this kind of hand on my chest every moment. Having Jamie in my life changed my life, because it really made me look at how I spoke to myself, that I was out there preaching about disability and accessibility and inclusion, and, you know, sat down with the Prime Minister having a conversation, and then I was going home and mentally just consistently beating myself up. And I still do it now. I'll still ring Jamie in my car as I go on my depression drives, and I'm like, Jamie, I can't do this anymore, help. Like, I feel so awful, I feel so sad. That we want this voice at this book to really almost convey the conversations that disabled best friends usually have with one another, and say the thing you're not supposed to say, and cry about the thing that everybody tells you to constantly be strong about. And it's the way we've written it and delivered it is that you can hear Jamie and I's best friend voices being there for disabled people as well, and being people who don't have that community or don't have that person that they can go to know that we've created in written format, in audio format, whichever way people digest the book, a safe space and permission to be unapologetically disabled and be proud of that. We've written a whole section about pride in your identity and the journey to get to that point. And when we say pride, we're not saying you have to sit there and say, I love being disabled, because if you could give me a magic wand, like controversial hot take, if you could give me a magic wand and say, wave it tomorrow, you're not going to be terminal, you're not going to die, you're going to feel so peachy, it's going to be amazing, and none of this ever happened. Would I wave it? Oh yeah, of course I would, because this is painful and this is tiring and I'm really not enjoying it. But that doesn't mean I don't feel pride in my identity just because I acknowledge the fact that this is really difficult. But it's things like that where it's a journey of understanding the practicalities of life, of law, of representation, of media. But it's also the practicalities as a disabled person to give you permission to feel how you want to feel, and know that two little voices are sat somewhere in this book and are your safe space to kind of be who you want to be.
It's like you're sitting around a table having cocktails with your two besties. Only one of your besties, Celia, can actually drink the cocktail, and I'm Irish, so I end up having too many and then saying too much. So it's like you're having a candid conversation with a friend, because sometimes it's what you need. You just need to say the thing.
Oh, I love that. Just to say the thing, just to give it a space to be. When is this book coming out? Because I really need to have it now.
November 21st. So it's available for pre-order now all around the world. We have not yet encountered a country that is not able to order. There will be an audiobook for accessibility released exactly the same time as well, and an e-version. So there are many, many links. If you go to our website, which is www.disabledsociety.com, or if you head over and find us on LinkedIn, we have a link tree as well, and it will drop down all the various most accessible sites to you where you can pre-order the book, or you can buy it on the day when it comes out, or whenever you like. We're really not stopping anyone.
And as well, with the audiobook as well, it's not AI, because personally I cannot listen to AI speaking, so we actually have a disabled voice actor doing the audiobook as well. We did debate doing it ourselves, but I think with my Northern Irish accent and me and Celia's humour, we would need to be in the same room to get that personality. So we're like, we want to bring more people involved in this journey. So it's a disabled voice actor doing the audiobook, which we're so proud of.
Well, I'm super excited. For now, before it's accessible to all of us, there are many people who want to be allies, but who have no idea where to begin. In your view, what's the very first act? How small, how large, besides buying the book? Because yes, the book, it's on the list. But what's just a simple thing, a simple thing that someone could do today at this moment, listening to us here, to start unlearning ableism, whether they're at home or at work? What's one thing they could start to do?
Find a disabled person, whether that's within your organization, whether that's online, whether that's someone you want to follow, whether that's a book you want to read. Whatever format that takes, is listen to the opinion of a disabled person. Because for me, there is a very distinct line between allyship and then taking up space, which you shouldn't be taking up. So you can be an ally on our behalf, but when that moment comes to pass the mic, please don't stand there and hold it to yourself and start talking about us when you actually don't have that lived experience, or doing consultation where you've not effectively consulted the very people that you're talking about. Allyship starts by listening, and listening in a very honest way. Don't lead the conversation, just allow someone to talk at you. And that doesn't have to be verbal communication. That can be communication through social media. And anybody that doesn't follow Jamie on LinkedIn, he is the social media guru of understanding ableism, disability, accessibility, everything. He's quite a big deal on LinkedIn for anyone that doesn't know. But finding someone like Jamie and just stopping and listening. And that's almost the first thing. I mean, it is the first thing, because you can't be an ally if you don't know what you're being an ally for. And so often we see people, a really good example of this was London 2012 Paralympic Games, was the biggest Paralympic Games and still is the biggest Paralympic Games we've ever seen in the history of Paralympic Games. And then the marketing came out for it, and it was the word superhuman, superhero, absolutely everywhere. And the message that was being portrayed was people with disabilities, disabled people, we are superheroes, we are superpowers. A lot of people identify with that language, yes. Vast majority of people can't stand it, because again, you've just othered me. You don't see me as an athlete, you see me as a superhero athlete. Again, separating that. And it was a prime example of nothing about us without us falling apart. And so that, yeah, a long-winded way of saying that's quite nice.
No, listen, that's great.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, when you're asked, like, what is the tip to give? And, like, Celia uses this quote and she says it all the time, and I absolutely love it. And it's like, start by doing what's necessary. And doing what's necessary right now is understanding disability, connecting with those disabled people, starting to open yourself up to take that little bit of accountability and to start that unlearning journey, and then do what's possible. Because when we start to make these changes, when we start to make things accessible, we include disabled people. We see them coming forward. We see them being able to share their opinions, share their lived experience, share that message of, actually, this is what unlearning is. And then suddenly you're doing the impossible. And, you know, when I think back as a child and I think of my experience as a disabled person, I didn't ever see myself writing a book. When I was younger, I thought I was going to be a fireman. You can't be a fireman when you're registered blind, by the way. I blame Fireman Sam for that really bad, wanting to be him. But we don't understand that. I thought it would be impossible that I would have a career. And in my teens, I couldn't see a future for myself. And now suddenly here I am at 35, having founded a business with my best friend. This business that makes you want to get out of bed in the morning, and you know that you're making a difference, and you see the impact each time you speak to an audience, each time you speak to a disability network, an organisation or a charity, you see that impact. So this quote altogether is, start by doing what's necessary, then do what's possible, and suddenly you're doing the impossible. And it's a quote that Celia gave me, and it's actually in this little book I have, and that's why I read it and remember it word by word. And it's so true, and I think that whole quote encompasses our journey, and I think it encompasses allyship so much, because we have to start these changes. It is necessary. And we always thought unlearning ableism would be impossible to do, but here we are with this book that's in a global market, and it's really exciting. So buy the book is my biggest tip, following.
Well, I want to, there's one more question that I had for both of you today. So you've talked about this truth. This is a truth that you've shared. Disabled people are not unicorns who appear during a full moon. I love how brilliant and blunt this is. When you imagine a future with all of us in it, where ableism has truly been unlearned, what does that world look like? And how do each of us start building that right now? What is that world like?
Do you know what? I wish I could say I could see that world, but I think in our lifetime we probably won't see that world, because there's so much to change. And I think me and Celia always tell everybody, our job is to make ourselves redundant. It's the same as anybody working within the disability inclusion space. Our job is to make ourselves redundant. But what that world would look like for my nephews who have the same condition as me is, they'll be able to apply for a job without having to ask for help. They'll be able to navigate a website without meeting a barrier. It's a world without barriers. It's a world where you can share your lived experience without fear of that consequence. A world where ableism isn't lurking behind every corner, or that internalized ableism is going to eat away at you. So it's a world of freedom, it's a world of expression, and it's a world that is barrier-free.
I love that.
I think I'll build on what Jamie said, and also kind of switching it from the disability perspective of, it's a world where it's not, you don't feel shame or sadness in who you are. Again, kind of going back to what I was saying, it's not about the physical experience of your condition. but that every day you don't wake up and wish you could kind of peel yourself out of your own body and go into someone else's body because you don't want to have to do the world like this because nobody gets it and nobody understands. If I had a penny for every time I've said nobody gets it, nobody understands, and it makes it so difficult, are you ever going to understand someone's experience that you haven't been through? No, you're not. You're never going to get it on the same level. But there is a level that we can reach. And for me, that world is the perception of disabled people is no different to how we perceive other people. There's still that respect of identity, that we're never taking that identity away from anybody. We're not going to start throwing words around like disability, but ability being capitalized, or differently abled, or all of these little hodgepodge of language that we see everywhere. Stop doing it. Disability is not a bad word. It's not a negative thing. Now we need you to see that, and now we need you to understand that. But knowing that it's also about safety, psychological safety, physical safety. But at the end of the day, accessibility and inclusion is a fundamental human right. It's not a privilege. And I just want to see a world where we can compete on the same playing field as everybody else. And that's happening automatically. You don't have to fight to be even on the same bloody pitch, which is what's happening at the moment, and how people view all of the things that come alongside disability. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A world where we're not having to be thankful for the fact that we didn't meet a barrier, we didn't face ableism. Celia mentioned it earlier, we're continuously thankful for those experiences, or of, I applied for a job and they gave me an accommodation, I'm so grateful. It's a world where we don't have to be grateful for having the chance to succeed in that equitable experience. Like, it's, yeah, I'm so excited for this book, and I know it's going to start so many conversations, and I'm so excited. I'm so proud of me and Celia, especially for Celia, because she's my yin to my yang, and like when we met each other, it was as though it's like suddenly something clicked, and this is a product of that clicking. This will be more. This will be just one book, but we'll worry about the rest later.
Well, I love this, and I love the book already. Cannot wait to get my hands on it, to listen to it, to read it, to share it. And Jamie, you said something really important there. Conversations, the conversations that this book will start. Conversations we didn't know we had to have. And so for the two of you, the work that you've done, I'm so proud of you too. And so excited for you both. So excited for all of us who reside in the disability community, and excited for the invitation this book gives to those both inside and outside of it. For sharing the story about your story, and for helping all of us become a bit more aware now. Thank you. Thank you so much.